Is this thing working? Oh, seems like it. Very nice. Hey, Bolthammer. Welcome. How are you doing? Oh, oops. Forgot to change my stream header here. Hey, this is no longer patch 5.5. This is Endwalker 6.0. Doing fine after lunch. Ooh. What did you have for lunch? I'm doing pretty good myself. Finally got some, well, not finally, but just a little bit of free time to play games and stream, so that's nice. Meat with buns. Ooh, that sounds really good. Any new adventures to share off? Tales of your achievements? Not having a fun time at school, I see. Hmm. Well, a lot of people will tell you that school will be the best years of their life, and I don't agree with that completely. Like, sure, there is some good experiences that you can have during your school years, but it's not automatically the best time of life just because their lives aren't great. My advice to you is just to take it easy, you know? Enjoy the time. Find things to do for yourself that you enjoy. You don't have to stick to the schedule, you know? Oh yeah, I mean, if you do have like a ton of friends, then sure, school can be enjoyable, but if you only see them because of school, are they really friends to begin with? Oh, hello. Meme Komiko. Welcome. And welcome to the stream. Let's see. Oop. Also, thank you for the follow. Kaboom on me too. And thank you for the follow, Meme Gomiko. Yeah, I can't say that's a really good thing to experience betrayal at such a young age. But if it's any consolation, these people are people that you probably won't see again after you graduate. Hopefully. Also, holy shit, this camera is not having it today. But yeah, overall, don't worry too much about school. Just enjoy your time. Find things to do that you like to do. Now see them again, that's good. Yeah, you know, don't let these people occupy too much of your time. What am I doing now? I am about to start the MSQ for Endwalker. Been putting that off for quite a while already. It's been spending way too much time leveling 2-3 classes to 80 just to finish the Shadowbringers role quests. And in order to do that, we shall enter the 7th heaven and enter the Rising Stones. Book's still not full, so we'll see. Ah yes, Book of Grudges. I don't quite remember what was everyone talking about, so I'm just gonna briefly look at the dialogue again. Right, yes. Those are brought within close proximity of the towers are tempered into serving Galmo, then forced to summon lunar primals with ether drawn from the land. But even having understood this, we are yet to uncover what the Telephoroi wish to achieve by all this. Are the towers purely for strategic advantage, or do they serve some other purpose? Right. Lunar primals. I have the feeling that the journey to Sharlayan is going to be quite the test of your nerves, in more ways than one. You'll miss this place while you're away, I just know it. But for now, the best thing you can do is to get plenty of rest while we wait to hear from Kral. Well, before we hear anything from Kral, I am going to talk to you, Alpino. Next ship to sail. Horse chestnut weapon coffer. Do I even need one? Yeah, absolutely not. Alphino is feeling the need to take stock. Alright. So very, do you have some time to talk? I sure do. I'd like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite, and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let's take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that its structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telephoroi. The Telephoroi stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already has these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Thank you for the follow, Pansu Sniffer. Just don't get caught doing what you do, yeah? Telephoroi stated purpose. Alright, I already read this. Ooh. It is indeed a very amusing name. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, the faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem to be able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Aronval and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. I'll be looking for now. I still need to make something to school. Alright. Well, thank you for stopping by anyway. And all the best in whatever it is you need to do. As you know, the Telephoroi are under the leadership of Van Daniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenos E.A. Galvus, the Crown Prince and now dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varys, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession. But that has since changed, and in troubling ways. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons or the cries of discord. It was an eerie fog of silence which did blanket the ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with narier words spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telephoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way in Sharlayan, I am sure of it. Master Fortunal's comments regarding the final days were curious, to say the least. The forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mistress Crow. She says that arrangements for your visits have been finalized. You're to head to Limson Lumensa and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldesian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. Arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long. I'm eager to see it, of course. Of course. We should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry, and wish you a safe journey. Oh, what would we ever do without you, Tataru? Anything to say to that after me? Safe journeys, and please do be careful. Anyone here? Nope. Everyone's off to do whatever it is that they have to do. Let's teleport there because I do not want to walk. You know what, I should probably shift the dialogue box a little bit further to the corner. System? Bars. Duty. System? Oh no, I actually cannot shift that. Or can I? Nope, yeah, I can't. Actually, is there a way I can shift the chat log? Let me Google that real quick. Oh, okay. Very nice. Get shifted to the far corner here. Maybe I should change all my put that here. Put that here. Put this here. Put this over here. Yeah, everything else is more or less the same. Guess it's a little bit less cluttered, no? Not that I've done much. uh, okay, Arcanist Guild. Look at everyone, all standing here. Let's take a look at the little flavor text and dialogue. While part of me looks forward to returning home, I've not forgotten that my father stripped us of the privilege of our family name. I hope it doesn't cause trouble with the officials upon our arrival. What a grim reason to bring you to Sharlayan. Not much to be done about it, I suppose. But I would have liked to give you the grand tour under happier circumstances. I might have lived in Master Matoya's cave for a good part of my life, but even for me, the thought of returning to Sharlayan is quite exciting. I can hardly imagine how it is for the others who lived most of their lives there. Contrary to what you might think, this will be like going home for me as well. I may have learned how to survive in Limsa Lamenta, but it was in Sharlayan where I was taught, quite relentlessly, I might add, the skills to properly live. I shudder to think what manner of truth awaiteth us in beyond the Indigo Deep. Still more do I dread the prospect of discussion long overdue. Sea travel can be tedious, but I don't mind it. 'Tis a rare experience for most Ishgardians. I never thought the day would come when I would be sailing home again. It always seemed so very far away. Oh. Tataru. Everyone's here, which is good because I've already paid for your passage and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Sharlayan should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand. Gee, I sure hope that nothing happens to the ship while we're sailing over there. Haha.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
Will this be your first visit to Sharlayan, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And, once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring them back safe and sound. I promise. Or should I say... no sense in worrying about things we're powerless to change. Seems a bit of a pessimistic thing to say.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Oh, it's the first time I've heard his voice. I think. Or has it been since, like, A Realm Reborn? Since they've actually said anything.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
That's much appreciated, Hori.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
And that's our cue.
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. There, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
I haven't heard this song in a while.
Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt.
Certainly.
Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Sylvaen should be coming into view at any moment.
A wonderful suggestion. Oh, who might you be?
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Hydaelyn?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer.
My God, they've done an absolutely wonderful job at modeling that face. Expression. It's fantastic. Absolutely immaculate.
You have gained an understanding of what I truly am. What Hydaelyn has always been. A primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world. And I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, Those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid.
Speak, and I shall listen.
Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms, monumental, which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Farewell.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Excitable, aren't you?
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Oh. That's some lovely architecture.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed, 'tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
And title drop. That is wonderful.
Sharlayan, the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldesian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration.
I'm not sure whether if I'm remembering things incorrectly, but wasn't it pronounced Baldesian instead of Baldesian? Oh.
Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration offices were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
We shall.
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archaeon.
I am. Grahat here of the students of Baldesian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
Oh, even paperwork's done by magic.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with a citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Oh wow, it suddenly got bright.
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alizé Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
I realize now how shady I might look. Artisan. I won't be able to say that because I simply have not done any of Disciple of Hand or Disciple of Land jobs, even. I don't think Champion of Eorzea is by any means a profession. So I'll just go by Adventurer by trade. The less Veno, the better.
An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may...
Oh, didn't mean to cut you off
sir?
there.
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
If you'll allow me...
Oh, hey, it's Kryle. Oh, just give me a moment. It just... That is an excellent question, though. What is Estinian's profession as of now?
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldesian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle! It is good to see you.
Hello, Niku. How are you?
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we?
Doing your quiz? Alright, all the best.
Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
Yeah, Lalafels are tiny, as you can tell. Prowl here is a fully grown adult, as is the immigrations officer back there. Actually, I'm kind of curious. What does she have to say? Yes, this right here is a fully grown adult. Lalafels don't get much taller than that. And if you're wondering why she seems a little bit taller, I guarantee you she's standing on the box. I swear, for since she's 1,000 years old. Well, I actually have no idea how long do Lalafels live for, but I can probably imagine their children are like potatoes or something. Seems you've already been approved for entry. Just try not to cause any trouble while you're here. Alright. But yes, welcome to Sharlayan. Lovely place, as you can see. Very nice architecture. I like. The children are Smurf-sized. I am unaccustomed to fabricating lies on demand. Why should it matter how I earn my living? Damn, Singapore looking nice. It might as well be, actually, now that I mention it. Here we are at last, the great city of Sharlayan. You may have noticed some similarities with the Crystarium, yes? In fact, Oh, but we really should let Kral have a say first. We can continue this conversation at another time. Yeah, gotta head out. Alright, see you later. Yadal is eager to take in the sights. Not to worry, Sylvaen. The city is not like to vanish before we finish our discussion. Didn't the whole island disappear? Even allowing that the years I spent in the first past here in the blink of an eye, the city feels untouched by time. Allow me to extend unto thee my warmest welcome, Sylvaen. May the wisdom of my homeland aid us in our endeavors. I'm fine, honestly. Better to be waved through with a stern warning than be denied entry after all. Searching Google. Search in Google Live, viewers dog hype. Well, welcome to the stream. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Spirited Chemois? Chemois? That was about as awkward as expected. Still, we're here now, and that's all that matters. Alright, let's hear it, Crow. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming to port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Prowl sweeps silence with a speculative look. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Sylvaen and Stinian's first time here in Charlotte. And for the rest of you, well, homecoming there was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit, and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you may all have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldesian Annex. How does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Labyrinthus estate as such, but I should like to nose around the neighborhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There's no particular place that I can call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of our old haunts might even yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Everite Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Stinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Stinian, should have just took her up on the offer. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you have me. Come, Sylvaen, Charlian awaits. Oh dear, his enthusiasm is infectious, isn't it? Right, let me do a quick read of my social media notifications, and there is nothing else of value. Thank you for liking the tweet, Yui, even though you're not here watching. After you, my friend, I am more than content to follow your lead. Gratia is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Gratia behind by entering a different area using the Ethernet, or by putting too much distance between you. You can also speak with Gratia and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Gratia accompany you again, return and speak with him at the original location. While Gratia is accompanying you, next try speaking with Kryle. Oh, that's neat. Old Charlotte, new to you. All set? Then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the Last Stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Kryle is also now accompanying you. Lead your two companions to the Last Stand and speak with Kryle at the designated location. While accompanying, you may encounter conversation points along the way, which offer additional topics of discussion. Enter the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Enjoy exploring your surroundings together. Oh, that is absolutely wonderful. No, where's the walk key? Oh, yeah, no, they just kind of run behind us. Those berries are the most tasty, fresh gob treats. Huh. Yeah, I'm just gonna attune to this here. Oh, hey, there's something over here. Discuss the storage facility. I'm grateful to have Carl's help in reacquainting myself with this place. It's almost as if I'm seeing it all with new eyes. As you are. Come on, let us head to the cafe. It may not seem so at a glance, but the last stand is actually it's actually a very important part of the city. I'll take your word for it. Let's go. Discuss the giant statue in the harbor. I'm grateful how Krauss writes. I suppose we'll get back here eventually, yeah? Is this cafe? Oh no, this is cafe. Nothing beats a fresh brew from the last den. It's fancy Starbucks, as it were. Ah yes, the last den. Now that is an inviting aroma. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and food preparation is quite extensive, the average Sharlayan tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is it's bland, as encapsulated by our infamous Archaeon loaf. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Sharlayan. The one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the most impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Sharlayan when it came to cheap and convenient raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs to the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Efert Plaza. You know, I really like having the NPCs follow you around like that. That's nice. Right. Alright, let me just tune myself with this. And I suspect I will be returning here quite often. So, as it were, let me set my home point here. The Aetheryte looks different from how I remember it. It's certainly different. It's round. I was going to say spherical, but it's not even close to a sphere. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's a perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to tune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries are the reason Sharlayan stands at the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of elegant Aetherites, it allowed us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Sharlayan's largest marketplace. I'm loving everything about the architecture here. Nice and open. Anything worth cracking my coin purse for today, I wonder. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Sharlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out, for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for the next big adventure. Am I overselling it? Oh, quite a jester, aren't you? On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. Let's head back to the Aether Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs up to the imposing building at the very top. Yes, back to the Aether Plaza and then north. A lot of people just hanging out on roofs now, huh? Oh, that's a nice garden. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Divinity's Reach in Guild Wars. It's a fascinating experience to walk around the city and contrast my image of the past with the reality of the present. The building we're looking for sits at the top stairs to the north of the Aetherite. Just keep walking up and you'll reach it eventually. The district we're passing through is called Archaeon's Design, a name which honors the 7 individuals whose contributions were instrumental in the founding of Sharlayan. It is the city's political and financial center, and it also hosts a collection of research institutions. Not much to say about the water features here, I guess. I do like the Archaeon's design. What a view. I'm not sure what's more important thing is this big building here. What an invigorating breeze. Touch biting perhaps, but pleasant nonetheless. This grand structure before you is the rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, on which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here one can see the entire city spread out below. Vista put me in mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into the town, the community, the Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors will object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. But now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. This neighborhood is home to the highest echelons of Sharlayan society. I never did feel comfortable enough to wander these streets on a whim. We've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who put ashore with Archaeon built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as a residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You see the one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Labyrinthus. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Sharlayan tour to a close. Our way has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldesian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbor, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza. Correct! After you, Sylvaen. Yes, I suppose this large manor here is the Levier Estate. Ah, good old Annex. I used to bunk there whenever I had business in the city proper. At the time it came to submit the thesis for my Archaeon qualification. Have I tired out with all this walking? Not to worry, I had rooms prepared for you at the Annex. Just follow the path to the west side of the Aetheryte and we'll be there in no time. Alright. I assume it's probably one of those buildings somewhere. Or perhaps so it's over there on the far end. Nope, missed a few Ethernet shards, but no worries. I shall return to those eventually. This is it, the Baldesian Annex. Baldesian Annex. Ugh. As the joyous look on Graha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldesian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of the phenomenon. I think we've explored enough for one day. It can take you there another time. Inside with you then. I'm back, and I've brought Sylvaen and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello Graha, it's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Sylvaen. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika? Ojika Sunjika, it's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, Administrator Officer for the students of Baldesian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. The champion of Eorzea has featured prominently in Kral and Graha's reports, so for me, this is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It's an honor for me to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlotte. Whether to make use of the sea's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the Annex has served as our base of operations. And yet, it feels so empty, so many lost to us. Our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we will see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Telephroi fall. Through that door on the left there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, we probably have time to rest before our discussion begins in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you and the Andron, so please, feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms. Perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more so than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. So simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we will slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might last well into the following morning. Save a word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall. You have papers pasted on walls of your room. It was not unusual for occupants to pin up notes or documents and such, and then forget to take them when they went on their merry way. Sometimes it was quite deliberate though. You might see complaints addressed to other members, or a thank you card, or the engrossing literature someone left behind. Beloved traditions that I should know better than to dwell upon. If we are to create a future for the students of Baldesian and so many others, we must look to the days ahead. Well, I for one am quite curious to see what the rooms look like. Now, if you may, I should like to ask about it. As Graha explained, the Andron's rooms were furnished for folks needing a break from all-night research or recently returned from expeditions. The students are used to seeing those walls plastered with articles and diagrams and personal messages, but I imagine it's quite a surprise for our newer guests. Why not take them down, you ask? Well, it's often the same people who stay in these chambers after all. Besides, I see old notes written by friends who've since passed. It's comforting, in a way, as if they're still here with us. Oh, and just to be clear, these are properly appointed bedrooms. Any mention of naps is not meant to dissuade you from getting a full night's sleep. Clean sheets and warm blankets await. Rest for as long as you like. Oh wow, this is really nicely furnished. Nice little sink. Toy chest, got a nice table. A little couch there. Illustration on it. And a comfy feather bed. Couldn't ask for anything better, honestly. Certainly a much more luxurious accommodation than one I'm used to. That's Ifrit, I believe. Little posters. It actually really ties the place together. Ooh, fancy. I see they've used the same map from before. I can't quite see what's going on in Ilzabard. We do have a little piece of map here that shows Rad's at hand. At hand? I don't know. I'll find out when someone pronounces it eventually. Feeling refreshed and alert, our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and wait for them to join us. Everyone is here.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Urianger. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroid's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal.
I really like that theme. This theme, actually. The tune, at least.
The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Sharlayan, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign policy. The bibliotheques, for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Sharlayan focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archaeon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldesian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
That far out.
In response to this threat, the Satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
Radzat-Han. Okay, that's how we pronounce it.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
And that would be
Assuming we
me.
divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice. But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts.
Well, when you put it like that, I can't say no now, can I?
You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archaeon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Alice and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking. Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
I'll be happy to have you along then. So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
I still don't understand how the vote could be unanimous. What could possibly convince them all to turn their backs on Eorzea? If the forum is intent on concealing its intentions, then a cursory investigation will avail us little, I suspect. We will need to dig deeper, and with the greatest of care. The process by which forum members are selected is fair and equitable. Neither wealth nor social standing offers any advantage to a prospective candidate. But fairly elected or not, Master Matoya still found them all to be insufferable. Our tour of the city was a pleasant distraction. I feel more than ready now to tackle the challenges of the day. So it's back to Fafnir. Had I known earlier, I would have considered more suitable attire. While I've read much about the subject of Radz at Han, this visit shall be my first. 'Twill be interesting to see how the Hanish mean to contend with the tower. Different as their magical and technological disciplines are. Oh, since we're here, might as well finish. And seeing as how we are already in Sharlayan, let's just investigate further demands before setting sail so soon to Fafnir. An unsettling change has come over Sharlayan, but together we will divine the underlying cause for the forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councils directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for any hint of connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, the search should proceed all the swifter. Let's reconvene outside the Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right and you'll find the archives of the western edge of the woods. The stadium is home to all manner of debate, though there are some who have taken to recording for insignificant victories, even betting on who will win and who will lose an argument. The sign of House Lavalier, who graduated quite a while ago, claimed the most wins, and has yet to be dethroned. Well, that is a very big tower. Well, not tower, but... His name Beavis? Are you familiar with Wandering Minstrel? The tales he spins never fail to engage in enthrall. What I wouldn't give to receive a masterclass in storytelling from the minstrel himself. Oh, since I am here, I am just gonna grab that Ethernet shard real quick. Oh hey, welcome to the stream, Ilya. How was I not following you until now? What? Oh, don't worry at all. And I'm not just saying that just to be nice. I really am not in the least bit offended at all. It happens, you know. I'm pretty sure there are a few people I follow on Twitter and I have not followed on Twitch either. Anyways, welcome. How have you been? Or rather, how is your morning going? I read that you've already had your second cup of tea, so you should be functioning at optimal levels, at least. I wouldn't say the best, but optimal. Actually, wouldn't that be the same thing? You're more alive, yes. That's fantastic to hear. I hope your day is going good so far, and I hope you have a good day ahead as well. The directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now before the doors of the Numenon, Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, and one of many at that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Gubal Library pale in comparison to the Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Oh, this must be one massive library. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons are afforded here access to certain restricted vaults. I have dispatched Yustola and Braha to investigate those. Meanwhile, Alzay and Alphino will help me to continue my search through the stacks open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor, here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan history or foreign policy. Words? What are words? What are words indeed? Silly things they are. The task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they've found some promising tomes. Happy reading. Oh no, reading. My not quite greatest weakness, but apparently I'm not too good at that. Oh wow. Yes, I was expecting this place to be big, but look at that. That is massive. How far down does this extend, I wonder? Brightly colored book. Might as well start here, I suppose. The title on the spine reads The Story of Sharlayan. Read the book. Yes. Long, long ago, on an island in the Northern Sea, there lived a Rogadin man named by the name of Nuncrep. Nuncrep was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperiled realm. It's indeed study time. Or perhaps for you it would be story time, since I am reading what what amounts to be children's book, I assume. I can show you my class list, and you can see that none of the scholarly types are on any of the ones I've leveled. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror, strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, the Newcraft's crew hauled them aboard his ark. But the danger had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only moments to spare, Newcraft wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to safety atop Abelathius' spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them. But it was not long before disputes over the dwindling supply of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Newcraft gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. We journeyed to the coast, where we built up a new ship, intent on returning to the northern seas. We landed on the beach of an island, and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time it became the city of Sharlayan we lived in to this day. Oh, that hardly tells us what we need, but I'm just gonna read all the books actually, even those that don't quite detail the stories of Sharlayan, and I wonder whether if I can get downstairs. Perhaps if I jumped off the railing. Nah, that'd be silly. Roads of Old Olney. Many years ago, on the bank of the Thaliak, in the Dravanian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. The settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Unless... Actually, I'll give that a try. I wouldn't be surprised if they built a barrier, but I'll give it a try nonetheless. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found that the facilities wanting, and their demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area was further inundated with Eorzean students hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become a flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took to calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amounts of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as Emporium. Following the Great Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a corner of the abandoned colony and gave it yet another name, Idleshire. The following chapters go on to introduce the most prominent feature of Idleshire. Idleshire? This book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum, or cover the history of the Sharlayan motherland in greater detail. Alright, it's time to attempt to jump to the lower floor. Oh, I can stand on the railings. Unfortunately, there is an invisible barrier preventing me from getting down there. Given the threshold of damage though, I can definitely weave my way back in down there if this invisible wall did not exist. Such a shame. Hold on, what the hell is this? It's a robot. Well, I assume that this would tell us exactly where the books we are looking for are positioned in regards to the main quest. However, I'm not going to do that. A faded title on spine reads Stewards of Wisdom. This is probably one of the books. During the chaos of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, Archaeon, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the Northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment with knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart the words of the Savior and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of cumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other. A nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by the founder's teaching. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and, with knowledge, deliver the world. The Sharlayans certainly think very highly of themselves. A well-worn manual. The title on the spine reads Forever 20 Summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, with so very few years life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra: I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19 or 25 or 40. Whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time available to spend upon your research, upon your chosen research, another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition from a biological, etherological, and arcane viewpoint. This book is on a run subject. What do you mean, wrong subject? If anything, it's probably the most useful book here. Blue covered book. An introduction to the heavens. Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain, in satisfactory detail, why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologist of Aleg who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalmud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of the ancient traditions, I wonder, Has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past, that their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? Why, yes, I am indeed eager to learn more. However, I am not an astrologian. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. As the city's population grew, however, this format became increasingly impractical. Larger the number of participants gave rise to ever longer debates, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions, but in the year 201 of Styx's astral era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition to a new form of governance. The nation would now be led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen from amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the forum as we know it today conceived and created. You have gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the forum. Head outside to rendezvous points and await your companions. Alright, let me see what does reference page has to say. Oh no. We apologize for the inconvenience, but the reference desk is currently experiencing an unusually high volume of requests. Please stand by until this issue is resolved. And that was painful to read. Not emotionally, but physically. Oh wow, look at that. It's golden hour. A nice little pavilion or rotunda to await. Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrow at least a few promising volumes. Alphino and Kral should also be along shortly. I was delayed in similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles in the Archaeon stacks mentioned the final days specifically, so we had no choice but to start with the tangentially related relevant tomes, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Plenty of comfortable places to read, and a ready supply of hot tea. Oh, I was always quite fond of reading outside. But it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak with one of the family servants, asking how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alphino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we were not to be allowed across the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. Hope that our efforts to understand his position and that the forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. We'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in this city? Ah, well, my situation is also somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. In the southern reaches of Ilzabar, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelt in Corvus, the coastal region opposite the island of Evner. The Allegans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of Mikot to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth umbral calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and with the fifth calamity, rose the seas solid. Many of the tribes still living in Corvus braved the journey back to Eorzir. My ancestors, however, chose to remain that they might prevent the remnants of elegant technology from being misused. Isn't Corvus under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. The Garlemald renamed the region Locus Aemonus. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in elegant civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had already been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the elegant eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alag. As the last child born with the elegant eye, I was given over to custody of our friends and the students of Baldesian, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never once considered. Forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archaeon Louisois, was it not? Stories of adopted waifs and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn, and with sufficient perspicacity. Perspicacity? Yeah. We outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archaeon. This is exactly why I have such love for this country, and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Hear, hear. Now good reason to get to the bottom of the forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into this book, Sylvaen. More company should be arriving any moment now. There are others better suited to poring over old history books, so I thought I'd try my luck with more recent events, if I can find anything to better inform the forum's baffling behavior. The Final Fantasy XIV dialect will be my downfall. It's so good and elegant though. Indeed. It certainly is. It's complex, but not overdone. Even Urianje's peculiar choice of language is very, very elegantly done. It's quite verbose, but it's not unnecessary. What else do I know of Corvus? Precious little, I'm afraid. I've not returned since Master Gelf first brought me here, can tell you that Corvosi rebels still seek to slip the yoke of their Imperial masters, though the fighting is far less fierce than it once was. Oh, and they have carpets. Flying carpets. The legends are quite extraordinary. Ah yes, the V's and vows. I really like it though. Indeed. Plus combine it with this gravelly, somewhat gravelly voice that is actually very pleasant to listen to. I could honestly listen to entire audiobooks narrated by him. And now let us wait for our friends to return. If anything, this actually serves as a very good reference to how to roleplay in D&D. Certainly a lot better, in my opinion, than speaking in modern vernacular. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Kral had already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers of the Umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days comes from an unexpected source. And I'm glad that you agree, Yulia. It helps get into character for sure. Very much so. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? Personally, I found that I've managed to speak less like... what's good? Comparison. Yeah, speak much less like a sitcom character and more like a character from a book, which is exactly what I'm going for. I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Emerald firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking critical details. Oh, that was... walking into Emerald was hell. My thanks. Now, where to begin? And thus the first bell chime. First things first. What kind of phenomena did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? A complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing the powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifest in terrible, tangible fashion, meteors raining down from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. Oh, yeah, I have to say, like, the monster design for Emerald was probably the most horrifying. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived until the present day, you might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Yashola surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. Was there aught else of note which heralded the approach of the final days? We say it began with a keening sound from the land itself. Ah yes, the Amaroteans spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear this sound ourselves, of course, thrust as we were into the midst of madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes was preceded by this ominous noise. Eventually, it resounded all across the star, and not even Emerald was spared. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbinger of doom, it must have been quite distinctive, and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of the Numenon's Mammoths and ask after any books which make mention of such a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive action did they take? They summoned Zodiark. Yes, with Labyrinthus serving as his heart. So many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike will were the laws of nature set right. Then, once the balance was addressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls that they intended to render unto Zodiark, a trade that would have followed them to resurrect the shades of loved one absorbed by the primal. Or might have, had Vanet and her followers not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telephoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen that what they're doing with those towers of theirs is forcing people to summon primals, a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech? Convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash. This is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let's return to our attention to the form, shall we? We should keep an eye out for Ystolda. But it is time we began studying these research papers. You mean you begin research on these research papers, because I have no clue what any of these may suggest. Many forum members are also researchers or professors. If they know aught of the final days, then that knowledge might surface in their writing. That's my hope anyway. It really is comforting to have all these dedicated assistants on hand. Right then, enough chatting, more reading. Same dialogue. Speaking of interesting ways of speaking, have you played Dragon's Dogma? I'm the last one, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archaeon stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Urianger learned of the sources reflections from the Garden oracles. For its potential to cause panic and confusion, that tome was deemed apocrypha and sealed away in the Great Gubal Library. 'Tis even less likely that knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason that many of my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when he confronted Master Fortuno with knowledge of the Telephoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us, which only supports the conclusion that whatever privileged wisdom is guiding the forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. Alas, it seems like I am indeed doomed to reading duty. You labor for what feels like an age as you stole as research assistant. I found not of interest so far. I think Ishtola might be right about not getting our hopes up. Your efforts to gain Grohatia's attention go unnoticed. He appears to be lost in his reading. And Alze is feeling somewhat still. Oh, holy crap. That is quite an impressive stack of books, Ishtola. Thank you for your help, but I think I can manage the rest without your assistance. If I were you, I'd steal a few quiet moments for myself. Oh dear, you look exhausted. What of your studies? What about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? Then the day was well spent. If you wish to read them again, a mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. You might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Well, I did find one paper focused on the world before the advent of the first world calamity. But it reads more like a work of fanciful fiction than an actual academic supposition. Alze appears in desperate need for a study break. Ready for a tea break, Sylvaen? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down by the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to the coffee. It's quite good. I always pinned you more as like a tea person rather than coffee, but we all have cravings now and then. I think I've got this one already. You know, there are quite a few places along a river where I live that is not quite unlike, yeah, which are not unlike the last stand here. Very nice architecture that is by the harbor or by the bay, and quite often usually bars or cafes or restaurants. A lovely place, should you ever come to visit. As busy as ever, I see. How very Charlian that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I am interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telfroy. Might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alzay is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. Can leave Alzay behind? Oh, the exact same thing. Come, follow me. Around there. Wait, what? What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We were simply wondering if you knew of the Telfroy. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear and... Wait, you're the House Labyrinthus girl, aren't you? This man with you is obviously a foreigner. I heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I'll thank you to leave me be. I have not to say to the likes of you. Wow, aren't you a rude one? Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, Sylvaen. Yeah, that was incredibly rude of me. I suppose the Sharlians don't see violence much, that they are not threatened by the sight of such a massive sword. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telfroy and their unconscionable plans. My goodness. If it isn't the young Miss Lavier. My apologies, but I work for the offices of the forum, and if what reached them must have fortunate if I was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. How about no? Oh yeah, so like I was saying, at least she's trying her best to be civil and... Oh, well, she's not trying best, she is being civil, so... I don't wish to give offense, but your companion is a well-known figure in the city, and you never know who might be watching. Understandable. Well, the customers have been decidedly uncooperative. Maybe the staff would be more willing to answer our questions. Welcome, sir. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alzay I see there? My word, how long has it been? Far too long. Me and Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studium. That seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing that you and Master Alphino had set sail for Eorzea, but then you never came back. Lately there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything alright at home? It's complicated, and I had expected the complete I hadn't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Lavier. No matter how discreet Master Fortuno may have been, news of your family's doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all times? We have questions, and only Charlene has answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What, like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And what's that you're here to find information on this apocalypse? Yes, whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak to me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're a visitor to Charlene, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders, strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. Not a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? Well, I suppose we can add being a a waiter to the Warrior of Light's resume. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where each of these dishes need to go. The tea set is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. Tea by the water's edge. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisela. She's sitting at an outside table in front of us. Omelette for Gisela. Behind them, you see a Miko's gentleman. He ordered the oven-baked lobster. Ooh, fancy, isn't he? Got all that? If you're not quite sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. Gisela got omelettes, I believe. Behind her, the lobster. The Gazette featured a piece about so-called champion of Eorzea. Say this barbaric hero has prevailed in a multitude of battles, like some avatar of perfected violence. And it's almost uncanny how closely you match the given description. What an odd coincidence. Haha, what an odd coincidence indeed. Surely couldn't be me. Oh, okay, I have to set them down in order. Evan Big Lobster is one of the Last Stand's most famous dishes. A flavor is said to be phenomenal. Unfortunately, so is the price. Hermanyard. You work here, don't you? I'm still waiting on that charming little tea set. And indeed it is. Right here. Oh, my tea set. Lovely. Thank you. The telephone who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them or their final days. My friends are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current affairs. Now, if you want to hear about the ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, common or esoteric, I'd be happy to talk your ear off. I'll take you up on that, but on another time. I suddenly have tables to wait, and I am clearly not the Warrior of Light, haha, or the Champion of Eorzea. Ah, finally. 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's dig in. No time to waste. Alright. What? Roy? Ah, yes. I remember seeing that name in the latest gazettes. But some grand claim about the end of days. Same old senseless warmongering. We'll see these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood. When will see these fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Best stay out of it, I say. Warren made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Urbane banter with a smile. You don't need to butter me up, you know. I've already ordered one of the most expensive things on the menu. You certainly did. You certainly did. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. The final days, this is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlian. Process books, unusualized specimens, and so forth. So named for those folk who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which was missed. Aye, by all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Tel'Thoroi make good on their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleaners be buzzing about in such frenzy? Watch the harbor, and you'll see what I mean. We're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before, not like this. In trouble with the customers, were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Dickon has nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring that no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part so well. Here, a cup of coffee, I promise. But let's enjoy our drinks somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the peristyle, away from the gossips and their wagging tongues. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian? Grahas said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say.
Well, as dear friend once told us, we do it for those who we can yet save.
Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Hold on, why do the boatsmen look exactly the same?
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthus. A vast complex beneath the island. Sylvaen is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthus may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Welcome back, Boltheimer. Alize is excited to share your revelations. We should tell the others what we've learned about gleaners. Go on ahead to the Numenon, and I'll join you in a moment. Master Deacon will want his cups back. Probably might stream for another half an hour or so. It's getting very late. Where is Alize? Oh, she was with you. Is that coffee I smell? That missed tea break? You did indeed. My loyal assistant returns. There's a lexicon on the first floor where I knew to... you found something, haven't you? Haven't you? Welcome back, Sylvaen. Been for a walk and clear your head, have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up some information on gleaners. Makes sense. Gleaners take their requests directly from the institutions and bureaucrats. But as you say, they ultimately answer to the forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner activity and in cargo, it suddenly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let's see what theory we can build from the fact. As Ishtola observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Sylvaen and Elzay had learned at Last Stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Sharlians know nothing about that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somewhat certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telefroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that we saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it's a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthus and assess the situation for ourselves, and if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. And what should we expect down there? Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to it that each is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head down the stairs over there. I'll show you where the entrance is. Watch your step in Labyrinthus. It's rather more perilous than a simple storehouse, although that will likely make the experience all the more attractive to an adventurer like you. Ready? Labyrinthus is not too far from here. We may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Off we go then. It's pleasant here amongst the trees. We really should get along. Now we run. Try to keep up. Keep to the path straight ahead. We cross this bridge. Up here. Barostra. Not far now. Here we are. Through this door and downstairs. You did remember to attune to the shark predator, didn't you? It'll make your life much easier if you need to come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. I am going to do just that. A labyrinthine descent. Oh, there's some fancy lifts. Sylvaen. Welcome to the Hall of Artifice. Should you be looking to descend to Labyrinthus, this lift here will take you there. I've not been to Labyrinthus in the longest time. Even as a student, my visit was few and far between. How did the Forum learn of the final days, and exactly how much do they know? More to the point, what do they intend to do about it? Hopefully the answer to at least one of those questions lie below. You didn't take a wrong turn into the rostra there, did you? I doubt the Forum would take kindly to you barging into a private session. Well, here now, yes. I've taken the liberty of securing our permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone, onto the lift and down we go. Oh, shiny.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
I really like the fact that we have Emmett Silk as our narrator here.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Something
Did
the
you
matter.
call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
Do you require a seat upon my shoulder? Truly an amazing place. Dobbin. You want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books, and ore, and fauna. If it needs hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthus. You know, sort and tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. Just did one a few summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped on our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, eh? Preparing for our next big expansion. Let me think. The rear seat should be item 1058, Q and seats 1059, Snurpleberry 1060. Already 1061. Ah, my head feels like stuffed with moko grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all of this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Corvus carrots for the Gurabanian carrots? What then? Excuse me, are you cleaner? If you don't mind, I have some questions to ask. Fascinating. But could we get back to what you were saying earlier? Where's Carl? Where's Carl? Most of those gathered here appear to be gleaners. Why don't you wander around and try making small talk? I have done just that, indeed. Let's see, what does this one have to say? Aaronville. Here to help or give me more headaches, because you don't have the look of a gleaner, and I'm in no mood for idle chatter. My colleagues were so exhausted you took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now with a pack of marmots running loose. Huh. Any Luxembourg? What tales did a gleaner have to tell? Taking stock. Notes concerning the massive inventory operation that is currently underway in Labyrinthus. Large shipments. Notes concerning large quantities of cargo making its way in and out of Labyrinthus. Concerning exhausting work causing accidents, such as a gleaner inadvertently freeing a pack of marmots. So this grand operation began without warning, and for every item that they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That will explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. But you're right, the forum is definitely up to something. If they're turning Labyrinthus upside down in the process. Yeah, look, I've got time to do some rat catching. Kral appears lost in thought. We'll do well to learn more of what, specifically, the gleaners are being tasked to do, as well as who has tasked them to do it. The game's still very, I have an idea. Didn't one of the gleaners you questioned say something about escaped marmots? Perhaps if we were to help him capture said creatures, he might be inclined towards a more friendly and enlightening conversation. In the meantime, I will turn my charms up on this gleaner here, and compare notes afterwards. Happy hunting. Terribly sorry to disturb you. I need to submit this report of mine, and quickly. It's a bit overdue. Could you remind me of the approximate date the guild ship was listed to help facilitate this most recent operation? Oh. You should help me find the marmots. I have nothing suitable to pay you for your services, but if you're offering out of the goodness of your heart, I welcome the assistance. My name's Aaronville. Friend, specialist in the collection of live specimens. That said, the capture of this Anaxian marmots is a trial I have no desire to repeat. Grizzled mice, we call them. For mercy, there are no other marmot species on this tier ever present, so there should be no mistaking our little fugitives. If you happen to catch any, stuff them in the sack. Gently, of course. Right, let's go rat catching. Where to begin, you wonder? I'm not seeing any scampering around here, so we'll need to widen our search into the surrounding forest. Be on your guard. There are beasts out there that won't hesitate to prey on a marmot, or you. I'll search the trees to the west. The eastern part of the forest is all yours. Good luck. Marmot. Alright, there's another thing I need to do. That is massive. A troll. Ugly little thing, aren't you? Oh, not little, but big. Come here. No. Oh. Now get a sack. Chirp and squeak. Oh. Barely have you ready to sack when the grizzled mouse scampers off into the underbrush. Actually, this retexture like a Gooboo for us. Suddenly it looks like it did. You're not as massive. Let me guess, you're not gonna get in the sack. Oh, hey, you are. The rat sack. Nope. Of course not. Come here, you little shit. A sturdy sack supposedly large enough to hold one or more squirming marmots. Yeah, if he would stay still. More prepared for its speed this time, you succeed in closing the sack over your elusive quarry. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's put some gold, shall we? Let's go. I do fair. I trade on 3 of the pack. which leaves one unaccounted for. The sack holds the plump, wriggling form of one greatly annoyed grizzled mouse. Ah, where's the odd marmot out? Wait here a moment while I put our friends in a holding cage. Thankfully, the marmots seem to be unharmed. We've held up well in all isolation, but it's much too soon to release them into the habitat. It's a good thing we were able to recapture them so swiftly. You have my facts. Who tasked you to capture them in the first place? Why, the authority in charge of Labyrinthus, and now and in perpetuity, the same officials who've had us working day and night of late. The honorable members of the Forum. Who else? Suitable for consumption, easy to breed. Those were the two conditions I was given for the stock I was instructed to procure. I don't know what the Forum has planned for these creatures, but at the very least I doubt they'll be served for dinner today or tomorrow. There you are, Eric. If this is the Gleaner you mentioned, the one who was looking for lost marmots. Interesting company you keep, friend. Who are you folk anyway? I'm Kryle, the students of Baldesian. These others are my associates. Truth be told, the Forum's decision of late have not sat entirely well with us. That's why we've made a descent into Labyrinthus. We hoped that by seeing those decisions put into actions, we might fully understand their reasoning. Wise and practical. Never hurts to try and gain a broader perspective, does it? Anyway, duty calls. Other animals to capture and enclosures empty. Once again, I'm sorry I can't offer you more for your services. Did you learn anything new from your friend here? So we've confirmed that the order for this ambitious operation did indeed come directly from the Forum. However, the Gleaners have not been informed of its purpose. I say that fits with everything we've heard thus far. We also discovered that when the operation was begun, the Forum contacted the Gleaners Guild ship and put their people to this great work for some 4 days after the Telefroi made their chilling declaration. As seasoned travelers, the Gleaners keep abreast of news from every corner of the world out of necessity. Plus, am I inclined to trust that their calendar of events is accurate. Although, altogether, it gives a distinct impression that this undertaking was a sudden and unexpected development. I find it hard to believe that such a comprehensive restructuring of Labyrinthus and its archives could have been planned in so brief a window. Nay, this plan was long in the making. They were but awaiting the right time to put it into effect. And the Telefroi's declaration was what set all in motion. It seems likely, but let us not leap to conclusions just yet. For the moment, I suggest we conduct a wider investigation of Labyrinthus. The more facilities we visit, the more pieces of the puzzle we stand to find. In that case, how about we head to the Archaeon? From there we can reach the lower... Kryle, what's wrong? I'm fine, truly. The sudden descent has left me with a bit of a headache, that's all. Nothing will stop me from soldiering on. Let's be about it, then. At least allow me to take the lead. I'm fairly certain I remember the way to the Archaeon. You follow the path east. Well, we followed the path east through the forest where you were chasing after that mouse, or marmot, was it? Anyway, 'tis the trolls you need to watch out for. Oh, actually this giant wyvern might cause some concern, so I'm gonna... I'll walk this way. And I see the ether right there. If you don't mind me, I'm just gonna run over there and grab the etherite real quick before I come by. This is the foremost material archive in Charlian. I would love to explore its treasures shelf by shelf, but I fear we have little time for such indulgences. Let me just move my chocobo out of the way. We're caught in mist on your way here. The sprayer's kit keeps the air humid, so the habitat feels as close as possible to a natural forest. Don't worry about me. I'm hale and healthy. In fact, I'm beginning to suspect that. Hey, let's discuss this further later. The investigation demands our undivided attention. I don't know about that. Sudden headaches can't be any good. Behold the Archaeon. As Numnon serves as Charlian's literary archive, so does this structure house the city's wealth of material data. The architecture, too, is similar. This building you see is merely the upper entrance, an access point to the vaults carved into the cliffside itself. Within those vast rooms are stored countless samples and specimens, as well as the detailed records which describe them. In a manner of speaking, the Archaeon contains a physical history of Charlotte's unwavering dedication to the accumulation of knowledge. Well, I think this is a good place as any to call it a day. It's been 3 hours. And next time we'll be learning more of this, discovering more of this mystery here. Alrighty. Well then, I thank you all for stopping by. I'll see you all next time.